What are the different ways you define acceptance?
I accept it because this is like how things are. It's a reality. And the other one is, well, there's nothing else I can do, so I'm gonna hatefully or resignedly accept it.
I'm Brenda Sue, and I've been a hairdresser for years, which means I hear a lot of stories. In this podcast, my clients explore a single word in each episode, not the dictionary meaning, but what the word actually means to them. Real voices, real stories, one word at a time. Welcome to Clips and Conversation. Last week we talked about balance, not about making everything even, but about staying grounded when life pulls you in different directions. But sometimes what throws us off balance isn't something we can adjust or change. Sometimes the only thing left to change is how we meet it. And that brings us to this week's word, acceptance. One day last year, someone close to me asked me why I couldn't just accept them for who they were. I thought about that for a long time, because I realized I could accept them for who they were, but maybe I couldn't do it and remain as close to them as I had been. When someone is close to you, there are expectations, there are things you need and things you hope for. And I started to wonder if accepting someone for who they are doesn't always mean keeping the relationship the way it is. Maybe sometimes acceptance means seeing someone clearly and then deciding what that means for you. That experience made me wonder what acceptance really meant. Webster's defines acceptance as the act of accepting something or someone. But what does it actually look like in our lives?
To me, acceptance is a positive or something good. If you're accepting something, and that means that you like what you see or what people are doing.
Sometimes people feel like they're giving in, though, if they accept.
I guess so. I really didn't think of that.
Mm-hmm.
I really didn't.
I love that, though, and that means that's how you are.
That's sweet.
Acceptance to me is individually based, and it is based on the individual's past and what they want for their life. You know, my acceptance of something will be drastically different from another person's, simply because of who I am. Do I prefer being accepted to being rejected? Heck yeah. Who wouldn't? Okay. It's also something that teaches us a lesson about how to progress through life and how to make our decisions in life.
So when I think about it, it's more just the fact of being willing to hear somebody. You don't have to accept what they say, but be willing to hear what they have to say and understand their side of it.
Try to understand it.
Yeah, it's okay. We can agree to disagree, but we can learn about a different perspective, respect a difference, and accept the difference in what we see or what we think.
What's your definition of acceptance?
You see what a situation is and you make the adjustments. Therefore, you accept what you've got to do and the changes you have to make.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe understanding acceptance also means understanding what it isn't.
I think acceptance shows up as taking what comes and accepting the good and the bad. Doesn't mean I have to like it.
Especially when there's nothing you can do about it.
Yeah, I'm just kind of have to accept whatever comes and deal with that however you deal with things. It's not an easy thing all the time. Some things are really hard to accept.
I was thinking about acceptance, and I realized that it can come from a position of power or it can come from a position of weakness. And it depends really on your frame of mind, because if you're thinking that you're going to accept a situation because of the consequences that you will have to endure, then that's generally more a weakness. But if you're coming at it and saying, I will accept this because there are other things involved in this that are more important to me than being right or changing something, and make a conscious decision is a far better position of power.
I don't think it means like accepting behavior or situations. I think it means you accept people are going to be who they are. And then you will make a decision to place them in your life where they belong. Accordingly, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it means you have to accept that behavior.
Sometimes you have to accept you can't control what the person next to you is going to do or think. And sometimes what seems logical to you is not logical in your mind or majority of the people. I think that's going on in our world right now. I would normally say, God, I should just accept it the way it is. But how? I don't even want to associate with a lot of the people.
Right. I can accept this, but then I have a boundary around that.
Yeah, I'm going to be selective at this point in my life. Because you know what? I've quickly learned you can't change other people, even if you tell the logic.
You do have to accept people that are different from you, different cultures, different color of skin. You have to learn to accept people without prejudice. So the word acceptance has to be taken in context. You accept those things which you cannot change, but you do not accept them too quickly.
A lot of our suffering isn't only from what happens. It's from wanting reality to be different than it is.
I had a dear, dear friend, and I admired how she had overcome great difficulty in her life, everything from murder to abuse, and how she had developed philosophies that gave her strength and helped her overcome so many things. And there was one thing that she said to me: whenever you face something of difficulty, the sooner that you accept it and adjust, the better you'll get along.
What have you learned about acceptance in your life?
Right now, more than ever before in my life, I'm looking at people to accept the way they're showing up in their life instead of expecting them to be a certain way.
That is beautiful. If we could do it, huh?
Mm-hmm. And it takes you stepping back, closing your mouth, and just watching.
Mm-hmm. Observing.
You're stepping back and going, okay, I wouldn't have seen it that way. How do I accept that? There's got to be a whole lot more understanding than what I'm doing.
It's hard to accept until you learn not to worry about what other people think.
So then maybe that's the question. What's your tool to not worry so much?
Getting closer to death, I don't know. After mortality starts to go, it's really going to matter that much.
Most people are worried about themselves.
Exactly. That's my point. What somebody else's life looked like?
Mm-hmm.
No. So get over it.
You have to kind of look at what's in your circle of control and what's not in your circle of control, and you'll find more peace if you can just accept what it is rather than trying to change it. It's not really up to us to change it. It's probably just for us to either learn or observe. And we may need to learn lessons more than once, and we can just do our best to navigate the things that are coming into our lives and then try and grow and learn through those. We need to, in acceptance, we need to allow everybody to have their own opinions and perspective and still treat them with as much respect as they should be giving us for ours.
You have to accept the consequences, whether they're good or bad, from the choices that you made. But many people don't choose to accept it, point that finger elsewhere because it's easier.
It's just like your kids, are they doing everything you want them to do? No, but they shouldn't be either. I mean, and you as a parent, as a person, have to learn to just accept that. I mean, yes, there's certain things that you would go to your kids to and say, hey, look, we got to have a talk. But by and large, the decisions that they're making and stuff are not crisis decisions.
They're creating their own life.
They're creating their own life. I think there's a realization to acceptance too, and that's it. Okay, here's the reality of things, and it's not something that you can change. And so why not accept it? There's a lot of people that have gone through divorces, for instance, that just refuse to accept that life is different.
And think about the importance of accepting the things you can't change and that you don't have control over, and only focus on the things you really can control and that you have any kind of influence over, because we there's a lot of things we can't control. there's a waste of energy and time if we just get frustrated and not accepting the way things sometimes roll, but learning how to be adaptable and continue to move forward.
The serenity prayer. You just described that.
If I'm having a difficult time accepting a situation or a problem, or I usually pray, and then I pray if I can accept the answer I get.
Sometimes that's difficult.
Yeah.
That's where my faith comes in. It helps me with acceptance, whether it be something good or something bad.
You lost a daughter.
Yes. But you know what that is an interesting thing, because how I look at that is God took her because her life would have been really difficult. She would have had to have a heart and lung transplant. So to me, it was the worst thing I could have ever dealt with in my life. But it's still peaceful because I know she's not going to suffer through all of that. So that was my acceptance. It was God took her because she was too good to have to hurt.
Maybe acceptance begins when we stop trying to control what was never ours to control. And when that struggle quiets down, what becomes possible?
When I think of acceptance, I think of a spectrum, and maybe all words have that, but there's the initial acceptance. Well, that's just how it is, and I accept that. But if we can move a little deeper into acceptance, what is this going to mean for this relationship? And what is my role if I truly am accepting this? And then the final thing would be coming to peace with the situation. And this is what I might offer the situation, or this is the trust I might give.
Acceptance is something that moves you into the next chapter of your life, and the quicker you can accept something, the faster you can move into your long-term goals and start your next chapter. Accept the good with the bad.
But moving forward doesn't always mean looking outward. Sometimes acceptance asks us to turn toward ourselves.
Brenda and I were talking about, I have a lot of liberal friends, learned a lot from them. I can't just take one piece of them. All of this stuff about them is why I'm friends with them. And so I look for aspects of people's personalities or talents that aren't innate in me. So I wouldn't want them to be different to cater to me, because then I would just want to hang out with myself. I want to be friends with them because they're not me.
What happens when you get rejected from your peers, though?
You just got to accept that some people don't like you, and there are some that will like you.
And I think you can accept it better if you have a good relationship with yourself.
Like, if somebody's trying to change you, they're not worth it. But like, if they're trying to change my personality or the way I look, the way I dress, then I don't need their acceptance because they don't like me for me.
I think a lot about grades, and it reflects on myself, and I put a lot of meaning on how my grades affect me. I'd say acceptance is just understanding that me and my grades are like a separate being, and it's not one.
I would say acceptance shows up in my life. I grew up in an LDS home, and my parents adopted me and my brother, so we were the only Black kids in the home. And my parents were always very accepting of us. We both struggled with substance issues, but our parents loved us forever. Mm-hmm. And obviously in the LDS home, you can't be gay or anything like that. I'm also gay. So my parents have always been accepting, and that's showed me to accept everybody for their differences and disabilities. Yeah. So I always try and have an open arm and just love everybody for their differences.
So for me right now with acceptance that I'm working on, it's that we don't always know what the right answer is in life. We don't know if we're doing the right thing for our kids or making the right choices in life, but accepting and giving self-compassion that we're doing our best. And we are making the best choices that we know how to at that moment and that we know of at that moment. You don't have to have so much self-doubt.
And if it's not the best, you get rerouted.
Exactly. And that it doesn't always have to be just, this is the only answer. There's lots of different paths you can take. And so there's not always the right answer necessarily. It's just the best at that moment.
Mom used to always say, and I didn't get it, but she'd say, grow old gracefully. You've got to grow old if you're alive. So try to just flow with where you are in life and what your options are. because they change.
So would that be a synonym for you? For acceptance is grace.
Acceptance and grace. In grace, yeah.
I don't do it. I don't accept. I have a hard time accepting my age.
Your age?
Yeah, you have limitations.
Yeah.
And when you were always active, and then all of a sudden you can do this anymore.
Sometimes it's mind over matter, and sometimes you have to just listen, and otherwise your body gets hurt.
Yeah.
You said you accept people pretty well? Other people?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
They're
other religions, other ethnic type of people. I have compassion for people.
That's a beautiful trait.
Yeah.
Give it to yourself, though, too.
Okay.
So, well, right now I feel like I need to work on just accepting myself. As I age, things are changing, things are shifting. So I feel like I've got to accept where I'm at in life and how my body is, and it's just not going to be the way it was when I was in my 20s. So working to accept that has been very challenging, especially during the menopause years.
Yes.
But I feel that the hardest part is to accept yourself. I mean, I think it seems to be I think it's easier to accept people that your acquaintances.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if you encounter a situation with them at work, you're like, okay, you just realize this is the way they are. You're not going to change them. Then it gets a little harder to accept family, like just maybe your immediate family. You just, your sister, your brother, parents, you're just kind of like, okay, it gets frustrating, but then you just come to accept it. And then it gets really hard to accept like your spouse and kids, because then they've got their mind of their own. You might have an idea of what you think you want them to be, and they just go off and do something completely different, and then there comes that acceptance. And then I feel like accepting yourself is like the hardest and most challenging of all.
As I've listened to all these conversations, acceptance has become less about liking, approving, or agreeing, and more about ending the argument inside myself with what is. And I'm realizing that may include accepting what I feel too. I can wish something were different and still accept that this is what is. I can love someone and still have boundaries. Maybe acceptance isn't about getting rid of one feeling so I can have another. Maybe, like we talked about with balance, it's learning to hold both. Last night, someone said something that stayed with me. She was talking about someone she loves and said she wished her mom was still here because she would have been such a source of love for her. And it made me wonder if sometimes acceptance really can be that simple and that difficult. Loving someone even when life doesn't look the way we expected it to. Maybe I'll know I've accepted something not when I finally like it, but when I can let it be what is, feel everything that comes with it, and still choose love. I can accept someone for who they are and still decide what that means for me. After accepting what is, the next move is often taking ownership of what's ours, our choices, our part, and what we do next. And that's where our next word comes in, responsibility. Thank you for spending time with me. Stay curious, stay open, and keep the conversation going.